Yes, Robert Thomas is the future of the St. Louis Blues, but is he still ready to be the captain if given the position, or does he need more time to develop? This is all coming up here on Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host, Haley Taylor Simon. And let me tell you, today's episode, there is a lot to go over. Not only about Thomas being the future of the Blues and the captaincy conversation. The Are We Feeling Blue for this week? I have a really interesting take on why I'm not feeling so great about the season now. And of course, Blues History Minute of the day. As always, I just want to let you know that this week, all of your interactions I have seen and I hear you, and there are certain topics that I am going to talk about because you wanted me to. So feel free to always comment and make that known because it just honestly just makes everything so much better when we can all discuss this together. I also want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more right now. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. All right. Robert Thomas, as we know, is a stellar player. And actually, one of you wanted me to talk about why I think he would be a good captain and why I think that he would still need more time to develop. And I like comparing and contrasting because a guy like Robert Thomas, there's a lot of positives. And I'm not saying that there's a lot of negatives, but it's kind of like anything in life where sometimes it just takes a little bit more time. So why I think he would be a great captain, I think his longevity with the St. Louis Blues would play a huge factor, that he would be a player that would be around for quite a while. And he would kind of, in a way, grow up with the organization. And I feel like having a player who has just been on one team and that being your captain, that is special. And not a lot of players in the NHL can say that they have done that. Off the top of my head, when I'm thinking of captains who have been only on one team, Sidney Crosby with the Penguins. I'm so blanking on some other captains because all the captains that were on one team are on another team now. People move around in the NHL like crazy. That's just a thing. But I'm just saying, like, currently, one player who's only been on the same team. I can't say our boy Alex because he left. But I think a guy like Robert Thomas, and it's like a hunch feeling of mine, is a kind of guy that I could see retiring as a Blue. And that is special. I can see him wearing that blue note up until the last game of his career because that's how passionate he looks on the ice to me. And I think that he genuinely loves playing for St. Louis. I don't want to say a con, but a reason as to why I think that he might need more time. And it's just the experience of leadership. I think leadership is something that accumulates over time. People usually look at people of higher authority and respect them. So it's like anything. Your boss, usually your boss right out of college isn't going to be the same age as you. Usually they're going to be older as an example. I think while he has had some great seasons, and it's nothing against how he's played, I think he's played really great. I think just having a couple more years of learning from somebody else could be a positive thing. I think that leadership is a very difficult task, and it's something that not a lot of people can master in life. And on the rink, you need your leader to be not only the guy that's going to be on the ice most of the time, but you need it to be the guy that can communicate with his team off the ice. What do I mean by that? Leadership isn't just about good play calling. It's not about just making smart decisions on the ice. It's how to motivate your guys off the ice. And that is something that I think Ryan O'Reilly brought when he was captain. he's really good at communicating. And you can see that a lot of captains, like, it's a charisma, it's like a swagger in a way. It's something that they do that just kind of allows other players to gravitate towards them. And obviously that comes naturally over time, but it's not a negative. I think that if Thomas was given the position, he would adapt. But I mean, when you have guys like Justin Folk and Braden Shen, naturally you're going to say, okay, well, shouldn't they get it before Thomas? Well, there's always the possibility that Thomas gets it and sticks with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that there's a wrong decision that will be made when it comes to captaincy. I think that there is a reason why the person that's selected will be selected. I know I haven't talked much about Justin Folk, and he is also somebody that I could see being a leader of the St. Louis Blues at that C. It is not to say that I am just disqualifying him. I just am having a difficult time picturing anybody else besides Shen. But it's weird too, because you look at a guy like Robert Thomas and you can so confidently say, yeah, I can see him being captain of the St. Louis Blues one day. All right. So why not now? And then it's like, oh, because Braden Shen, Justin Folk. Okay, but what about them? Let's focus on this individual player as he is. Let's go focus on Robert Thomas and not compare the fact that there's other guys on the team that have been there longer. And I think that's the difficult part. And that's the conflict that I have because, yeah, I'm a little biased in my opinion, obviously. But I've said this all along. There is a reason why a decision maybe hasn't been made yet. Maybe there still needs to be more time. Maybe they want to do it so the fans are involved. I don't know. But what I do know is that whoever becomes the captain of the St. Louis Blues and wears that C is going to be somebody that is going to be a positive impact to the season. I don't think that it is going to be anybody else besides those three guys. I don't. It's either going to be, this is my order of confidence, Braden Shen, Justin Folk, or Robert Thomas. Those are the top three guys. But it's interesting because you can, as I said, like, you look at Thomas and you can already see that one day he will be a captain. And hopefully it's with the St. Louis Blues. But he's just such a leader on the ice and he makes plays happen. And it's a shame because I feel like his age, or maybe it's just because there's other veterans on the team, kind of overlooks what he brings. And that's not fair to him. So I think that when comparing who should be the captain of the St. Louis Blues, keep in mind that you need to be aware that age, yes, of course it has a factor. I don't think anyone's going to tell you that it doesn't, but it's not like this guy just got drafted. He definitely, has some more growing to do on the ice, different things that he can work on, obviously, but your captain's not going to be perfect. Speaking of perfect, co-host is here today, and she has been nagging at me to hold her. Hello. Who do you think should be captain? As she's like stretching out. She doesn't know. For those that cannot see on YouTube, that is my cat, Stella, who loves when I talk about the Blues because she's all of a sudden interested in what I have to say. So sometimes you get to see her pop up on my screen here on Locked On Blues on YouTube. But this whole captain conversation, I hope it does come to an end very shortly because I am ready for this season. But it's hard to talk about this season when, as a fan, I am always intrigued about teams' captains. It's like really random, I know, but for some reason it doesn't seem like it's only 32 days until the regular season without having a captain named. Yep, it is only 32 days away. It is September 8th right now, and it is insane how fast the time is flying. The first NFL game was last night, to put it into perspective. So this season, it's kind of creeping along, I would say, and it's going to be here before any of us know it here on Locked On Blues. So Definitely excited about the start of the season. All right. FanDuel. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked on and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/locked on. And for me, this is what I would do if I were you. Listen, I know Kansas City did not win last night. They lost 20-21 against the Detroit Lions, but I would still bet on them to win the whole thing this season. Back-to-back champs. Travis Kelce will be back in the game in no time. And you know how him and Patrick Mahomes are a dominant duo. And listen, week one, a little fluky, but it is okay. Things will turn around. So definitely go to FanDuel.com and use Locked On. And that way you can get your bonus bets. I'm helping you win money, essentially. Speaking of winning, I know yesterday I kind of talked about Michael Zotto retiring after 14 seasons. I was a little petty. I loved MDZ. Are you kidding me? Who doesn't? He did hoist the cup for us in 2018-2019 season. And Del Zotto had quite a career. And this is one of the reasons why I love Blues hockey, is because I feel like every single player in the NHL just has nothing but love for St. Louis. So I was a little surprised to hear. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, no way he's retiring. Like, I understand, but it's kind of like funny for me when a player who you feel like has been around for so long. So just to give you a little recap on MDZ's career, he played in 2009 and 2010 season for the Rangers, which was his first season. He played for the Rangers up until 2014, and then he went to the Nashville Predators from 2013 to 2014 season. He then was with the Philadelphia Flyers for 3 seasons, leaving the Flyers in 2017 to go to the Canucks. He was only in the Canucks for a couple of seasons before he went to the Ducks. Oh, wait, MDZ? Is that the St. Louis Blues I see? Yep, he played 7 games with the Blues in 2018-2019 and became a Stanley Cup champion with us. So those 7 games definitely meant something. Then after he left us here in that season, he went to the Ducks again in 2019 and 2020. It always messes me up. Okay. And then following the Ducks in 20-21, he went to the Blue Jackets. And finally, ending his career with 26 games played, he was a Senator in 21-22. Okay. Let's backtrack. In his career, he played 736 games with 63 goals and 199 assists, accumulating 262. I could do the math without even looking at that stat. Let's go. It is obviously exciting when a player is able to accomplish so much in their career. So I wanted to give that time to MDZ. And, despite it being 7 games, Gretzky was only here for a couple more than you. So it definitely means something. And once a Blue, always a Blue. And I'm glad that you got to host that Stanley Cup with us here in St. Louis. Okay. My favorite segment, are we feeling blue? I was going to say yes, that I was feeling blue, but because of MDZ's retirement, it just kind of humbled me in a way where I appreciate the players that have come through this organization. And there might be some players that weren't with St. Louis for a long time, but have made such an impact. And I think at the end of the day, this is a very special organization, an organization that not only I love, but an organization that is meaningful to the entire NHL. I think back to the season that the Blues won the Cup, and every single person was singing Gloria alongside with us. So I just want positivity for the season. The Blues have history. The Blues have that underdog mentality in a way, a lot going against the Blues. But at the end of the day, the St. Louis Blues can only get better. And I think that that is the most important thing here, is that they're not unfixable. They're not this awful team. It was a bad season. It was one bad season. And all of a sudden it's panic mode. And I have not been like that up until this week, because I wanted to stay somewhat optimistic. And then I was like, okay, Hale, maybe you're being too optimistic. Okay, well, I will try to be on the negative side. And that did not work out so well, because some of you thought I was being too negative, but I was just talking it out through both sides. It's kind of like an argument. There's always three correct. Well, there's not always three correct. There's always three different sides to a story. There's person one, person two, and then the truth in the middle. And this is something where I don't think that I'm going to know how to feel up until season or preseason, actually. But until I see the Blues playing against another organization, I will then feel more opinionated one way or the other. But it's all speculation right now. You can only speculate how this team is going to do. I don't see them being worse, though. I really don't. And it's not just I have a feeling. It is because of the facts. They acquired Kevin Hayes, and he's not a bad player. So I see that being a positive. I also see prospects being positive. There's just positives going around, and there's less negatives. The negatives, yes, the defense. Okay. But there are positives within the defense, the talent. And I think that, putting all things aside, I think that the St. Louis Blues are a team that is resilient, because this team fought so hard only a few years back, and it ended up being successful. And this is the thing, resilience makes you better. Resilience makes every single thing about you better. It makes the team better. It makes the players around you better. It makes the fans care more, because people like seeing that underdog, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at the Blues this season. A lot of the Nationals, well, not like the Nationals, like not like the baseball team. Like I'm talking like the national media. The national media, I should clarify, they all have the Blues written off. St. Louis, not going to be a contending team. Who are you to say that? I understand you have 32 teams to compare in the NHL, and I respect everyone having an opinion, of course, but you can't write off a team that is not ready to be written off, period. Okay, taking a little break to tell you about making sure you follow here on YouTube at Locked On Blues, my Twitter at Haley T. Simon, or Locked On Blues' Twitter at Locked On Blues, to get all of your latest Blues information, updates, to see what's going on with the podcast. I always love talking to you about Locked On Blues, about different segments that I'm doing. So definitely make sure you give it a follow and hang out with me. There is no history that has happened on this very fine day. But you know what there is? There is a question that I had for you for over the weekend. What is holding you back from being excited about this season? I'm going to say it again. What is holding you back from being excited about this season? Are you just thinking, hey, they're not going to have a good season, so it doesn't really matter? Or is it another reason? I want to know why. Because my job right now, not only as a Blues fan, but my job right now is just to get you excited. It's to get you to count down the days with me. 32 days. Okay, let's go count over the weekend. It's me 31 and 30. I want you to be excited about the St. Louis Blues. And I feel like this season is going to be fun. While it may not be successful in a sense, it's still going to be fun. And then in a couple seasons, you have your young prospects that you drafted from, last year's draft, this year's draft. You're going to have prospects that are blowing everyone's mind right now come up and wear that blue note. There is so much to be excited about. And I just want to know why you feel held back. And if you are excited, tell me why you're most excited about this season. I want to know that too. Why are you excited to see your St. Louis Blues on the ice again? Did you just miss hockey and it's just like, okay, time to watch some hockey? I missed it. Or is there another reason? Is there a player that you're excited to see again? I know I'm always excited to see Robert Thomas when he hits the ice. I am excited about even seeing Joel Hofer in the net. There is so much to be excited about with your St. Louis Blues. And it makes me a little sad sometimes that maybe you don't feel that same excitement that I have. But I hope this radiates this energy right here because hockey is a sport where anything can happen. Teams play completely different than they do from the season prior. It is an insane game. One year you could be really good, the next year you could suck. So I would say this is my challenge. Let me know why you're excited or let me know why you're not excited and give me reasons why. Man, I cannot wait until the regular season. You have no idea. Now that football's back, I'm like, I need my hockey. Like, it is insane how much I have missed it. All right, just how I end every episode, what do I always say? Oh, yeah, let's go Blues.